Hello, this is Ryan from Amnesty. I'm going to show you William, or the Netherlands. I'll tell you about his victory conditions that I'd recommend if you were to play as him, the social policies I'd recommend, along with his two special units, or in this case a special unit and a special building. Well, improvement, I should say. So, he has Dutch East India Company, which means he retains 50% of the happiness benefits from a luxury resource if your last copy of it was traded away. Essentially, if you understand how Arabia works and their bazaar, it is essentially a personality trait of a bazaar that is half as good as it is. So, what does that all mean if you don't know what that is anyway? Essentially, if you have only one copy of pearls, you're able to trade away that copy of pearls to another civilization for whatever it is that you need, and you will still be able to retain 2 of the 4 happiness from that luxury resource. So essentially you gain 2 happiness out of trading it away. So it is helpful, especially if you are really desperate for getting another resource, luxury resource at that. So the 4 recommendations I'd make for the Dutch. Number 1 would be diplomatic. Why is that? Kind of diplomatic and science victories are tied together. They're about the same, I would say. Now, why is diplomatic higher than science? The only reason why I have it there is because you're going to trade a lot of your luxury resources. Generally, you'll always be trading to somebody all the time. That is the number 1 rule to an extent, because it'll help relations with AI. They'll like you for trading. Granted, the ones that are aggressive, they're not really going to care if you trade with them anyway, but that's besides the point. The point is that you'll want to continuously trade. People will like you, and that is good. You'll want to choose the patronage tree. Become friends with city-states as always. Once you're friends with the city-states, they'll give you a vote to the diplomatic, or the UN, United Nations. Now obviously you're going to want to be good at science, so that way you can build the United Nations to get a leg up on everybody. And then the second one I recommend is obviously science. You'll start near the coast. You'll probably want to go towards a commerce, social policy as well. You'll get money, expansion, science. You do want to expand as well with the civilization, because you need as many luxury resources as you can get, so that way you can continuously trade. And then number 3 would be somewhat recommended as domination victory. The reason why I don't really advocate it is because you only have one special unit. You don't have 2, so you really have to bank on that. And unfortunately, it is a naval unit, and naval units don't really win you domination victories, considering they can't take over a city, but they're not going to take over the entire nation or the capital. In some cases it will, but most cases it won't. So there's really no real bonus to them for that, so it's not very good. The only good thing is that you'll be able to pillage trade routes on coastal cities, but that only does so much. And then the one that I would not recommend is number 4, is cultural victory. You're going to want to focus on expansion. You're going to want to get more luxury resources in your capital, in your empire for that matter. And you're going to want to trade it away. If you only have a couple cities, chances are you're not going to have as many luxury resources as you're going to want. So that's not very good. Plus, you don't have a personality trait that really benefits you towards a cultural victory. So I would really stray away from that. Again, it's possible, but really wouldn't recommend it. And then you will have a sea bagger and a polder as the 2 units and maintenance thing. Anyway, I will show you that now. So the sea bagger will cost you 150 production. It's a naval melee unit. It's got a combat of 25. It's got a movement of 5. His abilities will be a coastal raider 1 and a coastal raider 2. He has prize ships and a supply. So prize ships means that when you try to take over or kill another unit, you have a chance of taking it over yourself, which is extremely helpful. And then coastal raider will mean that you're able to take more money from cities if you're trading away from their harbors or whichever, so you'll get more money. And then supply just means that you'll be able to heal without being in friendly territory, which is extremely helpful as well, because most ships don't start with that. So that is very nice for a naval attack. And then the polder will yield you +3 extra food. But unfortunately, you have to build this either on a marsh or a floodplains, which is somewhat rare to find. Not so much the marsh, but the floodplains are a little bit rarer, so you really won't build many of these. Now, your start bias generally will put you in a marsh-type setting, so sometimes that is helpful, but I've seen games where you aren't even spawned anywhere near them, so you never utilize it to begin with. So it's very situational, and sometimes really hinders you, so kind of stinks. So now I will show you the social policy if you were to play the Netherlands. So before I show you any social policies, I'll tell you about the Dutch start bias. Now this is somewhat unusual. Normally you won't be near tundra. Usually you won't necessarily be near hills either. And you will be more or less near these right here, the marsh. So this is one of those games like I was talking about. The polders will not really come into effect too greatly unless past this point there is more marshes and a real reason to go over there. Because generally you don't want to settle near marshes too much. So I will show you the social policy that I would recommend if you were to play as the Dutch, which would definitely be liberty, because again you'll get a worker, they'll work faster, you'll have a settler, you'll be able to build settlers quicker, and you'll get extra production out of your city, and then at the end of it all you'll end up getting a great person of your choice, which is extremely useful. And then more importantly, now in this game, unfortunately I'm not near a coast. Generally you are. So I would recommend commerce though, because you have sea baggers, you have all these things which are naval pronged units. So you'll get extra combat sight for the naval units. You'll get +2 happiness from each luxury resource, which is extremely important right there. Because if you have that, then it negates that whole effect of trading away a luxury resource. So you can trade away a luxury resource and retain that 4 happiness. So essentially you can trade away anything that you possess and not really have any repercussions from it. So it is very handy. You'll get some science out of the gold producing buildings that you have, and if you adopt the whole entire thing, which you do not have to, you will get extra gold from trading posts and double gold from great merchant trade missions. So that is the Dutch. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. And thanks for watching my video.